Well, good morning. Yesterday was cold, bright, and sunny, and today is overcast and wet. Same temperature though, well, 40 degrees this morning. Off to work, rolling down the muddy dirt road. Glad I have all-wheel drive. I was going to tell you about what happened to my minivan. It's really just a funny story. So along this way there's a culvert, and it has two great big steel pipes, and there's just mud across it or dirt across it, and that's how we get in. And there was a night where it was raining really super hard, and I came home, I got a message from my friend that I live with, and he said, there's no way you're getting home. The culvert's been, flooded over. And he sent me a picture, and I was like, oh my gosh, even he couldn't get home. So he was like, well, you need to go get a hotel room for the night. And I'm thinking, oh no, I grew up 50 miles out here. We had a culvert in our front driveway in a creek. And I remember when Mom would just go, we'll go see such and such family member, usually my aunt or someone or my grandma, and we'd hang out with them for like an hour or two. And as long as the rain stopped, we'd go back. Needed about an hour or so for the rain to stop and everything to calm down. And usually then there was just enough water over the top, or no water over the top of the culvert, that you could go home. And there were times, there were times when there was, 3 or 4 inches of water over that. And Mom would just think, the water's going that way pretty fast. So the driveway goes that way. So I'm going to go that way to where I think the very corner is, as fast as I can, in her 69 Plymouth. And, admittedly, there was only one time we kind of ended up back towards the middle of the driveway, spooky. And then we'd go up the hill to our house. Oh, wow, there's a tractor out. Something's going on. So I thought, well, this looks like there's just a few inches of water. It's 1 a.m. and there's a few inches of water. It's fine. I'll just, I will just do what Mom did, The water's going that way, and I know the road goes this way, so I'll just go for the corner, and it'll all be good, and I'll go as quick as I can. It was muddy. Oh, and I'm going right through an enormous puddle. I should have gone around it like a dummy. And I put it in second gear so I wouldn't spin the tires because it was muddy and I didn't want to lose on my traction. So I put it in second gear. I got back as far as the straight part would go, and it's a little downhill. And I just kind of squeezed it up. So I was probably doing 20. And I thought, it'll be all right. It'll be okay. I go through here kind of quick sometimes. It should be fine. And it kind of like the van went whoop poof, and it just dropped and then bounced around violently, and then I was across, and I'm like, wow, there must have been a big rock in there. Geez, I hope I didn't mess up my radiator or something. Wow, this is muddy. Mud bog. Oh, whoa. Okay, we're through. Wow, this must have rained a lot. So, it was really bouncy, and I was really surprised when the minivan dropped, and but it bounced good, and it was a little violent, but we were across, and I realized, now my steering, it's pulling pretty hard now. Dang it, I probably knocked it out of alignment. Oh well, it's a $300 Ford minivan, and I knew I could beat it up, and it was like, oh well, whatever, who cares? So, Jesus, steering, or the seatbelt's bugging me. So I drove home, parked. It was a little after 1, went to bed, and I was like, oh gosh, I'm so tired, So the next morning I get up, and I'm here right now at the very spot. And I had to stop right here because the culvert's down there. So I stopped right at this very spot. And there's 2 trucks over here, 1 truck over there, and there's a tractor doing stuff on the culvert. And my friend Diego turns around and sees me, and his eyes are huge. And he comes running up and he says, I see you, Jackie. I see you, Jackie. How did you get here? How did you get here? When did you get here? What time was it when you got here? And I said, it was like 1 a.m. And he goes, are you kidding? It was a raging river at 1 a.m. Hi, what did you do, And then a couple of the other guys came up and they're like, what's going on? And so Diego explained. And they were all dumbfounded by the idea of it. And I guess there was nothing there. They said that all the dirt had washed away and it was just the pipes. And I've looked at them now, and I realize the tops of the pipes are completely dented in. And these are like really sturdy. What they told me it was 3/16 core 10 steel. And it's riveted and stuff. And it's not some slouchy little galvanized pipe you get these days. This is probably pretty old. And it's heavy duty. It was probably put in like that by the Corps of Engineers or something. And it's entirely possible I dented them in. Being as there was nothing there, I must have like landed on them, and there was a ditch. There's this huge ditch on the before and after the culvert pipes. There was nothing there to traverse. So the idea was that I just must have bounced perfectly off that pipe somehow and got to the other side. And my friend was furious. It's like, somebody else got washed out once. And ended up, the pickup got all the way to the dam, and there was a lot of trouble. And, it was 1 a.m. in the morning. If you got stuck out here or washed out, there's nobody here for, a mile or so. You have no cell signal, nothing. Do you realize it was like 29 degrees. Do you realize the trouble you might not have made it? I looked at him and I said, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm here, And of course, and he's like making Dukes of Hazzard references, which I used to love Dukes of Hazzard. And, so, and we might as well keep going across the culvert now. So, they had put a bunch of mud across, and it was soupy. It was like peanut butter. And I was right here, and I went where this fence is, and I backed all the way up, so I had a straight shot right where this fence is, where my butt of my van was right here. And I put it back in second gear, and I said, Diego, just get away. It's what? 40, 50 feet, I'll get across. And he's like, oh, hell no, you're going to get stuck. And I said, well, there's a tractor. Do they have a chain? He's like, well, I probably, whatever. And I said, just tell everyone to get out of the way. I got to go to work. So, then the guys are coming up going, lady, you're crazy. Knock it off. You're going to get stuck and you're going to mess this up. And I'm like, I'll get across. Don't worry about it. I'll go really fast. And they weren't going to let me until Diego was like, get back. She's doing it. She's going, she's raised in Hazard County or whatever. Just get back. Which isn't actually that far from the truth. And so I squeezed it up, and I know it was a little spinny taking off, but, still having the traction I needed. And I hit that thing, and it was shocking how fast the van was starting to slow down. And I was like, oh God, am I going across? But I did. And we'll go across right now because it's easy. I looked in the mirror, and behind me were these two frozen wakes of peanut butter, just stuck like that. Two of them. And yay, we're across. So I hear them back there screaming and hollering, and somebody goes, yee-haw, I asked Diego later, I'm like, does anyone know? And, Diego, oh, darn it. He's like, no, nobody knows. Or maybe they do. I can't remember what he said. And he said everyone just was like, who is that crazy bitch in the minivan? And it's just like, well, whatever. She got across, so what does it matter? And now when they see me, if they're in their pickups, they always wave at me. And it's hilarious. My friend actually was in the motorcycle accident 15 years ago with me. He was right next to me. And he's a very gracious person. Sometimes I wonder if he's my guardian angel, because when everything gets super serious and my life is in the balance, he's been there. And it's not like he's nice about it. It's like, get off your butt. He he has this saying that I've adopted for something. It's either he says, "Suck it up, Buttercup," or he says, "Toughen up, Buttercup." And I used to whine about going to electrolysis and having one day in advance having to have some scruff on my chin and stuff, which today is the day, so my chin is scruffly, but I cheese grated the makeup stick and whatever, I'm going to work. So and tomorrow I have electrolysis, and I think I will take my camera to electrolysis and see if I can get some really good images of that, so show you what that looks like. But yeah, so the day that I'm going to electrolysis, and we're in that bumpy, maybe I could drive over here and not be so bumpy. That's a little better. The day before electrolysis, when I have to have stubble, is now known as Buttercup Day or Buttercup Mode. And my friends know if I'm in Buttercup mode, I'm probably going to be a little self-conscious about going out, but I try not to be. And I just, go and do my thing, and nobody notices, nobody cares. They just think, God, that girl's got skin trouble, And they're polite, so nothing rude is ever done. So today I am in Buttercup mode. Buttercup mode. I'm going to work, and I don't feel anxious, and I'm fine. The Revlon Instafix crayon stick, bumpy, has done its job, and I will have to wash all that off tonight. So, I'll paint the inside of my sink beige with makeup. I've been really looking forward to the day when I don't need any makeup at all. And just if I want, if I'm going to go out and put a little eyeliner or something. I've done it in the past. I'm not a big fan of it. Nobody in my family is. We're not makeup people. I mean, it's interesting, maybe I'll explore that more someday. There's plenty of trans girls that are great at makeup. And speaking of, I'll backtrack to a story about the person who taught me how to do makeup. Her name is Ajay, and she has her own makeup studio. And prior to Ajay, there was another person who ran the place called Carla, and it was Carla's. And I used to work at a plastic store down the street on Race, and Carla's was a little ways down. And I used to, at lunch, wander up and down the street, and I noticed, and I would see some people coming and going, and I realized, I know what that means. That person, back then I didn't have the word for it, but that person's trans or something, and I realized, oh my goodness, what's going on in here? And so occasionally I would open the door and I would walk in and I'd look around, and then, Carla would come up and be like, well, what can I do for you, honey? And, oh, I'm just looking, and, oh, well, do you want to talk? No, okay, bye, I gotta go back to work. Back out the door I'd go. That probably happened a half of a dozen times over the course of a year. And finally she's like, either come in and stay and talk or go, I have to come all the way up here to answer the door. Then I moved to a different plastic store and stopped doing that. I was like 20 or something, 21, I don't know. So, a year or so ago, I'm on my way here to come out to my biker friend, and I was on the way here, and I had previously called once or twice to Carla's, and the new proprietor was Ajay. And I talked with her a couple times and said, hey, this is the thing I used to poke my head in. I know about you guys since, 1990 or whatever, and I've never actually, done anything about it. And I really need to learn, I want to know how to do makeup. I don't know anything about it. And so she, very politely said, well, come on in, and I'll sit down, and you can sit in my chair, and we'll talk about, what can be done, and it's this much, and you can spend this much time. And I kept thinking, okay. And then one day I got brave enough to say, yeah, I want to do it. And then something came up, and I had to do that instead, and I called and canceled. And then I was going to go because I couldn't get my friend on the phone here because he's out in the sticks and there's no phone or whatever. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go on a drive and clear my mind. And then I thought about it. I'm like, no, I'm going to go learn makeup today. And so I called Ajay and was going to go. And then as soon as I scheduled and turned my car around, went the other way, my friend called and said, well, I'm home, come, I'll meet you at the bottom of the driveway and show you how to get here. And so I called Ajay back and said, oh, well, I got to come out to my friend. And she wished me luck. So, and I came and I did that. And I came out to my friend, who was extremely accepting, and all the worries I had went away. And then later I did schedule with Ajay, and I went in and I sat down and I sat in her chair, and she did a whole bunch of makeup and different things. And I was astounded by the oh my gosh, I look so different. And I learned a few things, and she likes the makeup crayons and stuff. And I learned that they're really, really easy and really, really quick. Just rub it on and done, go out the door. And I found one that doesn't sweat off or bloom or anything like that. And so that's what I use, just as a little bit of cover up for now. And I need less and less all the time. So I'll be really happy for the day. I'm having one heck of a party when my face is clear. It's going to be the, I don't know, my face is clear party. I don't know. So, and I would tell Ajay all about it and stuff. And she would talk about Carla. And it was funny, after all of these years, I finally went to Carla's, and occasionally they get together and sit around and talk, and I'll go. I haven't gone for a while, I should go, and just chit chat with everybody. And it's people I know from kind of all over, and new people I don't know that usually just hang out at Carla's. So that was, something that took forever to culminate into actual reality, but it happened, and finally there I was in the chair. So at any rate, those are a couple little funny stories that I wanted to share. Know that if you're struggling with, the idea of coming out, or you're trans and, facing difficulty with family and stuff, and it's weighing you down and troubling you, I'm going to share everything I can to let you know you're not alone whatsoever. We're kind of in it together, aren't we? And remember the idea of tramily, or, extended family inside your trans friend group. If you get a feeling like, if you get a vibe from someone like, my gosh, this feels like my sister, my brother, my aunt, my dad, my mom, whatever, don't even discuss it with them. Just pop it on them. Just, next time you see him, hey, Dad, how you doing? Because I did that. And surprisingly, it just was like, fine. Like all of a sudden, that person and I were like, oh yeah, yeah, hey kid, what's up? And apparently now I just have a dad. So someone to go to Father's Day with. How awesome is that? And I get to go hang out with him once in a while. I'm astounded by this idea. We actually talked about it in group yesterday. It came up and I didn't bring it up. And in group, they were talking about that exact thing. And I thought, wow, this is amazing, to build a family of peers in that fashion that you can equate with, and who are accepting when your own family seems to walk away on you and be extremely harsh and unaccepting. So what a thing. Remember that. And if you need resources, remember transgenderpulse.com has therapist resources right there on the resource page. Beautiful people who will talk to you about your struggles. You will not find medication advice or pictures of people of that nature. That's not what that's about. It's just trans support. And it's a very clean, tidy place. It's not, you would be told to not use explicit language or talk about untoward topics. So, it's really just support. It's a nice place. That being said, remember, there's also suicide hotlines readily available right there when you go in. And if that's troubling you and you're having dark thoughts, immediately seek that help. Nobody's there to judge you. Those suicide hotlines aren't going to know who you are. You can tell them anything you need to tell them. And believe me, you can get through anything. As horrible as it may seem, and the loss that you may think of, you can get through it, I promise you. And I can say that because of experience. So I also have to remind you, click the like button, subscribe. And if you subscribe, click the little link that says, is it this corner of the screen or this corner of the screen? I don't know, it's over there. the alerts tab, so you see when things come up, and that'll help kind of spread the word, so to speak. I'm not an exciting, pretty girl. I'm just trying to help people get through, and I want to get a little exposure so people know that it exists as a support forum for that. Take care of yourself. TGI Friday, right? So the weekend. Tomorrow I go to my electrologist, and I will take my camera with me and see if I can do something on that and show you some really interesting things about how it works, like close up while it's going on, maybe a time lapse or something, So we'll work on it. Take care of yourself. I care. I'm here. I hear everything, and I'm sharing. So stick with me. I will see you later. Bye.